how to write a rhetorical analysis essay. Hello, I'm Enrique from the Studybay. In my previous videos, I discussed how to write a quality research paper, and in today's videos, I will share the guidelines for writing a rhetorical analysis essay to get a top grade. Here at Studybay, we excel the best in writing academic papers. Whether it's a rhetorical analysis of songs or rhetorical analysis commercial, we got your back. If you need help, don't hesitate to contact our experts by using the link below. So, let's get started. Okay, before we dive deep into understanding how to write rhetorical analysis, let's first know rhetorical analysis definition. Rhetorical analysis is an analysis of how a writer or a speaker has used words to create a certain effect to influence his audience. Now that you know what it is, let's dive in. Step 1. Develop an understanding. The rhetorical uses certain strategies to appeal to his audience. These rhetorical analysis strategies are ethos, pathos, and logos. Okay? Ethos, pathos, and logos. The first one, ethos, also known as the ethical appeal. It is derived from the writer's credibility. He uses his own character to develop a case for his audience. For instance, people tend to listen to a doctor more intently than an ordinary individual giving a bit of a general medical advice. Pathos, also called pathetical appeal or emotional appeal, pathos refers to the invocation of the audience's emotions that authors uses to get his point across. He uses the audience's emotions such as anger, fear, love, mercy, or sadness to convince the readers of his argument. The great English poet, William Shakespeare, has used this rhetorical appeal effectively in his world. And all his strategies. Next one, logos, meaning the logical appeal in order to convince the audience of the argument presented. Academic writing is a good example of this kind of appeal. It primarily uses logical reasoning and scientific proofs to convince its intended audience, mainly educators and scholars. Step 2. Main points to focus on. If you want to be a good rhetorical essay analyst, you must act like Sherlock Holmes. You need to research and investigate to find hidden meanings in the text. For a good rhetorical analyst essay, you must ask certain questions and focus on the given points. Why does the author choose the topic to write on? What does the writer aim to achieve? What is the argument presented? Who is the target audience? Which rhetorical techniques has the author used? Has he been effectively persuasive? What stylistic devices, has he used? And what effects does the article have on the audience? Some background information on the author as well. Step 3. Pre-writing your analysis. I have stated before that a good piece of rhetorical analysis should discuss why the author has written a particular text, different appeals used, the dictation of the text, and the stylistic devices that the author uses and why. It should also include examples of the techniques used and your understanding of why you think the strategies worked or it didn't. So the primary purpose is to collect and organize the main arguments of your academic paper. Here is a rhetorical analysis example of preliminary notes on nobody less than Martin Luther King's speech. I have a dream. Purpose, to appeal to the emotions of the audience regarding equality, justice, and freedom. Rhetorical techniques used and why. Uses anaphora to emphasize through repetition of phrases at the beginning of sentences. He uses also, relevant allusions to develop credible arguments. He repeats the key theme throughout. He uses metaphors to associate the abstract ideas in concrete terms. Specifically, he uses historical references to give a strong ground to his argument. The next task for you will be to look closely for all the examples that are relevant to each of the technique you have identified in the text. For example, uses of anaphora 100 years later in the third paragraph. Now is the time. In the paragraph number 6, we cannot be satisfied. In the paragraph 13, I have a dream. Well, repeating from paragraph 16 through 24. Let freedom ring from paragraph 27 to paragraph 41. Once you have collected all examples, jot down the points and discuss how effective each of the technique was in achieving the original purpose of the text, or in this case, a speech. For example, you can talk about how effective is King's uses of anaphora in invoking his audience's emotional response. Step 4. Write the analysis. Like all other writing paper and thesis, a rhetorical analysis outline must also comprise 3 parts. First one, an introduction, of course, a body, and also a conclusion. So introduction, your introductory paragraph must include a strong thesis. Your rhetorical analysis thesis should include the main theme as presented through the use of a few techniques, and also choose the techniques you are more comfortable to work with in writing about. So for example, in this iconic speech, I Have a Dream, Martin Luther King appeals to the audience's emotions through the use of, and then you start enumerating anaphora, repetition, and the use of illusions and metaphors. Remember, your introductory paragraph, your introduction, must have a smooth transition into your argument. So keep it focused and relevant to your arguments to capture your readers and to get it, to take his attentions right at the beginning. The body paragraph. Divide the body paragraph into different paragraphs. This gives a more cohesive outlook to your analysis. It would help if you now decided how you would like to organize this section. Perhaps you would like to start by choosing, for example, a technique, then mention the relevant textual evidences and discuss the effectiveness of it. Or you would like maybe to first pick up the rhetorical appeals, mention the examples, and then discuss the techniques used and their effectiveness on the reader. It also all repeats and rests on this correction. Make sure that your paragraphs has a proper beginning and an end. Start your paragraph with a topic sentence and conclude it by reinforcing the statement. So don't keep, shuffling between ideas, and badly structured body will negatively affect your paper overall value. Add as many examples as possible to your topic sentence to strengthen, the argument. And also, last but not least, conclusion. Like your introduction, the conclusion should also be solid, and as it will leave the lasting impression on your reader. So it should tie back to your main point of view and start it as you did in introduction. So use effective summarizing techniques to ensure all your arguments are outlined, and in this section, make sure to connect your argument with how it can affect society. For example, in the conclusion of rhetorical analysis on King's speech, may refer to the appeal that he made for the demolition of social, political, and economic inequalities prevalent in American society. Some useful tips to note. Now that you know how to write a rhetorical essay effectively, here are a few tips that will surely make your life a lot easier. When writing, a rhetorical analysis essay, make sure that you have your own voice. Clearly, make an argument, provoke, prove it by giving examples and analyze how relevant and expressed the argument are. So don't get carried away as you make your analysis. A common mistake that rhetorical analysis commit is explaining the meaning of what the author has written. Your job is not to explain, but to critically analyze, okay? So keep your focus on basic tasks. Make sure that at least half of your analysis consists of commentary on the text or speech. So support your analysis with quotation and text evidence, but don't let it overpower your analysis, okay? never start a paragraph with a quotation from the text. Always start with a topic sentence that briefly explains what you intend to discuss in the paragraph. And the final tip is to practice analytical writing essays as much as you can. It can change your life. The 8-old max practice makes a man perfect holds for writing as well. So you can also check some of the best rhetorical analysis essay examples and rhetorical analysis thesis examples on our website for your reference. That's all for today, guys. So please check the description below for many helpful student materials. We have prepared several amazing articles for people exactly like you. So all links are in the description. Check it out. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to receive more valuable materials for your studies. And don't forget also to slap like on this button right now and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.